A very good morning, Zimbabwe. Mamukase, mamukase, mamukase. My name is Ronald Wekwamakushi, and welcome to African Beyond Television Network, where we are giving you the latest trending news in the nation of Zimbabwe without fear, without favor. Let us take a look on CCC. Next plans is the next government of the Republic of Zimbabwe. This comes at a point where everybody else was believing that Mukomana had a plan, but he managed to come with his plan publicly. Planet Nayo is just that we are waiting for the right moment to strike. So let us take a look. Let us go through the plans or the strategic plans of Citizens Coalition for Change. And this one is coming as the first thing we need to take a look is the pillars of CCC economic framework. So they're saying that under CCC government, the economy will be anchored on macroeconomic stability, fiscal discipline, resolution of the debt crisis, financial service sector reform, pension reform, and social protection, currency reform, industrialization, and alternation of accumulation model, rationalization of the land reform program, including securing land tenure for those who hold agricultural land, agro-industrial transformation, mining sector reform, including beneficiation, job creation, and formalization of the economy. That is what is very important. If you look on these issues which they have raised, the formalization of the economy is key. Why? It's because the economy will begin to get its taxes to full capacity. If the economy is formalized, we'll get more taxes because everybody will be paying his or her taxes. And you are going to see the civil service being paid well because of the formalization of the economy on its own. Then, if we are looking on the issue of beneficiation, our minerals are being taken from Zimbabwe as raw materials, and a lot of people are employed elsewhere from our minerals. So, if we are to implement the issue of beneficiation, it means we are now in the position of employing more people from our unemployed graduates, from our unemployed youths. It means our graduates can now go and do what they are learning about. But if you look at it in Zimbabwe, your graduates will go to the school, they will learn about something, but they will not find any attachment or any job here in Zimbabwe because we are not beneficiating. So you would see that is a good plan from Citizens Coalition for Change government. And we are talking about agro-industrial transformation, where we are dealing with the issue of agriculture, blending it with the issue of industry. And that is what we need to see happening. You see Zimbabwe imports eggs, chicken, everything. We are importing everything. We need to make sure that we produce everything from the agriculture, that is poultry, and so forth. Then we need to see the industrial sector doing my packaging, my production of various food items and other things. That is what is very important. And if you look at the issue of industrialization itself, we don't have a functional industry in the nation of Zimbabwe. If you go to the industries, ndokwakupindirwa machechi, ndokwakazara zvinhu zvese zvirongoitika, the industry is closed, the industry is dead, the industry is not expanding. So whenever you see a building, it's not about an industry, it's about a retail or whatever. The industry itself is dead. How can you have a functional industry in a country without electricity? That is another question. So you would see what CCC is going to deal with those issues. And if you look on the introduction where they've said where they've talked about the pillars of CCC economic framework, you would see that they've covered almost each and everything. Look at the issue of the banks. A functional banking system is going to help Zimbabweans get loans. If I want to start a company, I go to the bank, I present my papers, I get a loan, I start to do business. And when the economy is functional, I don't have any problems with paying back because the economy is stable. I'm getting sales, I'm getting everything being done. So you would see it will be easy for me as a young person to get into business. Unlike this current situation where I walk into the bank and I can't get a loan. And another situation is you will see the currency stabilizing. You will see value being preserved. You see more people going to the banks to save their money because they will have interest on their money. So you would see all that ZANU-PF has destroyed each and everything about that. And CCC here is talking about the transformation of those issues. They are talking about debt crisis. There is debt crisis in the nation of Zimbabwe, but it can be resolved with a serious government. So you'd see Kuti, they have a plan. Honestly speaking, they have a plan, because if we have all these things being implemented, we are going to have a better and a credible Zimbabwe going forward. So this is the introduction which I covered, and I will briefly talk about other points. And if you need this document, please, you have to come to our WhatsApp and get that document. I'll share it with you. So they've talked about the Zimbabwe Emergency Economic Rescue Program. They have an emergency economic rescue program which needs to be put in place. And they say that since the end of the GNU, ZANU-PF has pushed the economy into the state of disequilibrium. And they failed to maintain what was created during the GNU. So GNU was not meant to do a lot of things. GNU was meant to stabilize things, to bring stability into the economy, to bring currency stability. But ZANU-PF failed to carry that over, and they failed in everything, and they've destroyed everything. And the assumption of CCC as the new government, it will embark on a short-term stabilization agenda upon which the economic recovery program will be anchored. And they will talk about restoring the macroeconomic stability and fiscal consolidation. And you will see, Kuti, they will deal with the issues of budget deficits, and the fiscal adjustments which are necessary will be put in place. So you would see, Kuti, if they are talking about it, they're talking about it with clarity, because they are talking about the issue of restoration of balanced budgeting. And we are talking about the rationalization of expenditure and improving the expenditure mix. So we are saying, instead of us spending more on useless things, on buying cars, on buying houses, on buying whatever, which is of luxurious thing, let us balance it. Let us use more money in terms of harnessing talent, in terms of providing programs which are going to create jobs, which are going to make the money circulate. That is the idea of Citizens Coalition for Change. And they're talking about the financial sector reform, and I covered about it to say we need to have reforms in the financial sector, full reforms in the financial sector, so that I can walk into the bank, deposit my money. I want to send money to USA, walk into the bank, deposit my money in the bank in Zim dollars, and it is transferred to United States of America. But that is not happening in the situation in Zimbabwe right now. I need to go into the street, buy US dollars, then I get to the bank. I'm now doing the functions of a bank on my own. So the bank will just take my bank charges from my own money only. That is what they'll be doing. So we have useless banks at this moment in time. So you would see, Kuti, with Citizens Coalition for Change in charge, we are going to realize all those things. We're going to have change, real change, and we're going to have all those things being addressed. The issue of currency reform, they've spoken about it, because we need to have a currency which can be trusted, a currency with value, a currency where people really know that we have money. Kana une mari mumba mako, you must feel that you have money in your home. But at this moment in time, Zimbabwean dollar is useless. Anongori manhamba akawanda, and we really need currency reforms. And the issue of central bank reform, we need to have a new team at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, because this team which is there has been there for a very long time, and they failed to do reasonable things. And the governor himself is failing. The governor himself is running parallel programs which are meant to siphon money from the banking system into their own pockets. Then we are talking about the issue of restoring savings. The issue of savings is that let us take a look on somebody who was in Zimbabwe and who left Zimbabwe and who left 10,000 United States dollars in his account, their account, and went to South Africa or went to UK or went to sit at home. That person is now losing or is lost that value from that money, because everything was eroded. And I'm telling you, it's because they used the same US dollar accounts, they converted them to RTGS, money was looted. So the issue of fiscal reforms, we are talking about this one is urgent and critical because we are talking about stabilizing the Zimbabwean economy. And in this regard, the CCC government will reintroduce balanced budgeting and will limit the exposure of governments to the central bank, because central bank yazara makororo ndokwavari kuoperata vari ikoko. So we really need tough fiscal reforms which are going to make sure that each and everything is resolved and the economy begins to function. And conclusion, the CCC government will create opportunities for all, and this will be market led, and entrepreneurs will form a society and they will begin to lead. And one thing I like about it, Advocate Nelson Chamisa always speak about domestic direct investment more than foreign direct investment, where I am allowed to invest in the economy fairly, and I get opportunities more than the foreign one. So that is what is very important, because that is what is going to make Zimbabwe wealthy, and that is what is going to make Zimbabweans build their own empires, and the Zimbabwean economy will be resuscitated. So I've tried to briefly share with you the plan which CCC shared about their next plans as soon as they get into power in 2023. ZANU-PF will come and tell you, hey, say, but there is no way they've mentioned about that in this entire document. And if you want to read this document, just send document to this number, which is appearing. Let me put it right here on the screen so that you'll be able to request for that document, and I'll be able to share. So check the number which is appearing on the screen and request for the document if you haven't seen it, and you'll be able to get that document. Or if you go on Citizens Coalition for Change Twitter handle, CCC Zimbabwe, it's there. The document is there for you to be able to see, to peruse, and read for yourself, because it's too long, and it will need over an hour for me to get into detail on each and everything. I've just tried to briefly share with you their plan to resuscitate the economy of Zimbabwe. This is it, Team Zimbabwe. Let us meet in other episodes, in other broadcasts.